Hello again, fifth graders. Okay, so the last couple of school days, we've been learning about adding integers, positive and negative numbers. So a couple school days back, we learned how to do that using counters. And then one school day back, we learned about how to do that using a number line. And so some of you might be thinking right now, okay, counters and number lines are great, but what if we have really big numbers? I mean, I don't want to use 1,000 counters or draw a number line that goes to 800 or something like that. And you're right, there is another way to do it where you don't have to use counters or integers, but hopefully the last couple days have given you a little bit of understanding about what adding integers really means. So today we can go over the rules. Our objective for today is to apply the rules for adding integers. All right. So here's the rules for adding integers. There's two different sets of rules. Okay. One set of rules if the two integers have the same sign, also called like signs. In other words, they're both positive or they're both negative. That means they have like signs. If they have different signs, also called unlike signs, that means that like one is negative and one is positive. Okay. So let's start with the rules for same signs, because those are really easy. Okay? So the rule for that is, if they have the same sign, okay, here's the fancy word. It says, take the absolute value of the integers. Now the absolute value is just the distance from zero. So just ignore the signs. So for example, the absolute value of negative 3. It's written like this, absolute value. Oops, you can't, there you go. And it just means 3. Okay? Absolute value of 3 is also 3. It's just the distance it is from 0. So like 3 or negative 3, they're both 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're both 3 units away from 0. So that's their absolute value. Okay? So they always come out as a positive number. Okay? So that's the main thing for that. So just if they're the same sign, you just add them, ignoring the signs, then use the sign of the integers. So for example, let's say I'm doing 2 plus 6. Well, of course, you've been doing that since first grade, but they're both positive, so you ignore the signs. You just add 2 plus 6. Then you use the sign of the integers. They're both positive. That's a positive 2 and a positive 6, so the answer is positive 8. Okay. If you had negative 2 plus negative 6, again, ignore the signs. 2 plus 6 is 8. They're both negative, so you'd use the negative sign. That's how easy it is for adding integers with the same sign. Okay. This, again, you've been doing that for years. This is new, but it's not too hard. You just add them up and use the negative sign. Now it gets a little bit trickier if they have different signs. Okay. So let's say we're doing a problem such as 8 plus negative 5. Okay, so let's figure out the answer for that first. Try to get my better lighting here. All right, so for 8 plus negative 5, in our number line, we start at 8. And for adding negative 5, we're adding a debt of 5, so we go left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is going to be positive 3. Okay? Now, what's the way of doing that without having to use counters or a number line? Well, here's the rules. Rule number 1. Find the difference of the absolute value of the integers. Ignore the signs. Find the difference. We use that word here because it means subtract, but I don't want to call it subtract because that will get you confused when we start subtracting integers. So find the difference of the absolute value. In other words, ignore the signs. Just take 8 and 5 and find the difference. The difference between 8 and 5 is 3. Okay? So that's step 1. You get 3. Then step 2, use the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value, the one that's farther from 0. So you have 8 and negative 5. You just think, you ignore the signs, 8 and 5. Which one is greater? Okay? Or which one of 8 or negative 5 is further from 0? 8 is 8 away. negative 5 is 5 away. This one has the greater absolute value, so use its sign. That's a positive number, so the answer is positive 3. So we can try some other ones. We could try something easy like, I don't know, negative 2 plus 6. Okay. All right, so step 1, these have different signs, so we're going to use these rules here. Find the difference. 6 minus 2 is 4. You ignore the signs, just do 6 minus 2, you get 4. Now we got to decide whether to use the positive or negative. Well, what's further from 0, 6 or negative 2? In other words, which has the greatest absolute value? The 6. And it's positive, so it's positive. What if we had 2 plus negative 6? Okay? Okay, well in this case, okay, again, you ignore the signs, you just have 6 and 2 and you find the difference. The difference of 6 and 2 is 4. Which sign do you use? The one that's furthest from 0, the one with the greatest absolute value. So ignore the sign. 6 or 2? 6 has the greater absolute value. It's a negative number, so the answer is negative 4. So 2 plus negative 6 is negative 4. So that's all fine with small numbers. How does it help you with big numbers? Well, let's say you have negative 73 plus 28. Again, they have unlike signs. We're using the unlike sign rules here, okay? So ignore the signs and find the difference. 73 minus 28. And we get 45. But step 2 is to decide which sign you use. Use the sign of the one that's furthest from 0. 73 and 28. 73 is further away from 0 than 28 is. It's a negative number, so use a negative sign. So there you go. That's all you'll need to know for today. Good luck and have fun.